Welcome to
Hi,
the FiveStack. We're late, and it's my fault, and I apologize. But some of those things have to happen. Some real life.
I like how you called it a bio break.
It is a bio break. What's wrong with the bio break? Is that not the right
Everybody
term?
knows what it is.
Well, I'm not
You
trying
said
to
you
hide
had to go to
it.
the washroom. Yeah. It's it. You can say, but I've never heard anybody call it a bio break today. Hi,
Oh, no,
Noble
really?
Blend. Hi, all. Hi, everybody. Hi, Lawrence. Let's go. What a day. No, I've never heard anybody call it bio break. Hi, Nan. Hi, everybody. Hi, y'all. Hi, Nick. So
Happy to
I
see you too,
appreciate.
guys.
Yeah, really good to see you guys. But I love it. I'm gonna use it from now on because it's like it's far more approachable and accessible to say that in a public setting than any of the other things that I always say. So I'm gonna sharpen up with some Zevisms.
There you go, my euphemisms, if you will. We've got a big show
that's
today.
corporate speak, by the way. Someone just said, Courtney, she's like, that's corporate speak for going to the washroom.
Yeah, maybe I'm a corporate speaker. Maybe in my past life I was,
did you just sell out to the man?
No, I've never sold out. I never sold out, but I was there. I visited.
You sell out. You liberal cuck.
Listen to the comments here. I can't even repeat them. I am not a liberal. That's a very complicated statement, that liberal cuck thing. But I'm going to go. We'll deal with that on another day. We have so much show to do.
Zev is an angel. Zev is my friend too. Yeah, that's good.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks.
Dave Hunter says, "Go Whiz" is my go-to.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad
Whiz.
either.
Yeah, Tinkle.
Tinkle's a good one. I can't even think of any others. I used to say just go to the toilet in South Africa, but you can't say that in.
Why not?
Because toilets,
water closet,
like a dirty word in North America for some reason. You have to say.
Oh, it's a great word. Water closet. I like that one in Europe.
Water closet,
just got back from. If you ever go to Italy, England, Ireland, any of those countries, like WC water closet, and they're like, absolutely, it's over there. I like that one. I need the water closet. Yeah,
that's pretty good. Maybe I'll defer to that next time. What a show we have for everyone today. We have a big show. There's 5 big stories coming everyone's way, and it's the top 5 breaking stories in the world right now as it's happening at this very moment. And of course, the big one for us is all about Ghislaine Maxwell, because as we speak, there is a interview. I guess you could call it that. Maybe it's a meeting. Maybe it's just a confrontation between Ghislaine Maxwell, her lawyers, and the deputy AG for the United States of America. And this is all happening in a disclosed location, but not at her jailhouse. So we're told that it's a very unique setting. Unlike they would normally do this in jail. This time they're doing it at a courthouse nearby. It's unclear what they're expecting to get out of this particular thing. Some people suspect we could have a pardon come out of it. Some people suspect she will reveal all. It's been a long meeting. Todd Blanche has been there all day. And I don't know what your expectations are. I have various scenarios I'm playing with, and none of them make me feel particularly good about the future of the Epstein files.
No, I don't disagree with you. And let me line up. We're gonna connect dots today. We're gonna line a few things up, and we're gonna take things at face value, and then we're gonna add some substance underneath it, so you can kind of get a full breadth picture of stuff like this meeting with Todd Blanche, Deputy Attorney General for the United States of America, Donald Trump's personal criminal lawyer, prior to just being, handed this job, being second in command of the DOJ. We know why he was given the job. He is in the Epstein files. Todd Blanche knows everything. He was the guy, along with Pam Bondi, in May, bombshell report. We talked about it yesterday a little bit, but we haven't had a chance to talk to our people here today, our American and Canadian friends, no matter where you are, about the fact that yesterday the Wall Street Journal and every other mainstream media outlet dropped the bomb that Donald Trump isn't just in the Epstein files. He's all over the Epstein files in many different forms, and was informed by Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche that he is in the Epstein files in May of this year. So let's park that. May of this year. Now, if Todd Blanche knew that his client was in the Epstein files, why the fuck is he in Tallahassee, Florida, in a courtroom trying to find out from Ghislaine Maxwell if he's in the Epstein files? It's completely a purposeless exercise. And it seems to be missing from everybody's purview when we talk about this meeting. Yes, it's dirty. Yes, it's greasy. Yes, Todd Blanche, Donald Trump's lawyer, who has been outed as being a suspect. That's the fucking fact. He's been outed as being a suspect, along with other people who are unnamed at the moment.
We're not a suspect necessarily. We just know he's been named
in the Epstein files. And dude, like,
and they've said that they've had no further reason to investigate. Now, you have to take them at face value. I mean, it's a cover up, so maybe that'll be the crime that gets them. But right now we know that his names are in there. His name could be in there because they socialize together.
But dude, we knew his name was in there because we've seen his name in there over the past, I don't know how many years, on flight logs and in address books, and which is really the client list is the address book. Now we find out that he has not only been outed as being a suspect in this Jeffrey Epstein pedophile ring in very serious terms. We also find out, that he has tried desperately to hide his involvement in those Epstein files via Dick Durbin, Senator Dick Durbin, last week. I'm going to bring you back to that. Last week on the floor says, hey, we've got a letter out to the DOJ saying, we know Donald Trump is in the Epstein files, and we know there's $1.5 billion that went between JP Morgan Chase, Jeffrey Epstein, and Russia. So what we really want is we want to find out what's in there. Stonewall. Everything around this has been stonewalled because Donald Trump has known that he is in the Epstein files. Donald Trump knows he is guilty. He is desperate because he's known this whole time. And can you imagine the heat? Can you imagine the heat of knowing that you're in it? Knowing that you're going to lie to the people you're around, which makes me wonder, and I want to ask Lev this when we talk to him, makes me wonder, are his people around him being lied to? Were they lied to under the auspices? Did they know this whole time? But for Todd Blanche to go down and meet with Ghislaine Maxwell, which is not just odd, it is an offer, it is a deal, it is a fact-finding mission, it is Todd Blanche walking into a courtroom in Tallahassee, Florida, at an undisclosed location, saying to Ghislaine Maxwell and her lawyer, who he is best friends with, hey, we need fucking help here. And you're the only person alive anymore that can help us. So what kind of help can you be? Because we can be of help from you. That is what's going on. That is what that meeting is. Donald Trump is not just in the Epstein files. He is a decent portion of the Epstein files. His relationship with Jeffrey Epstein goes back 25 years. The cat is out of the fucking bag. So when we start positing about, whether or not Donald Trump's guilty, why don't you just consider everything that you've seen? Why don't you just put together these little tea leaves and then puzzle it together? Because he's guilty. We're watching it happen. There is no reason for Todd Blanche to be down in Tallahassee, Florida. He's already told Donald Trump he's in the Epstein files. He knows what's in the Epstein files because he's seen the Epstein files. So why is he going down there to ask her what's in the Epstein files?
Well, he's going to ask her what she's willing to say, of course, because Ghislaine Maxwell can save Donald Trump's political life, can save his financial life, can save him right now. Now, if she chooses to do so, we won't find out until we know what her decision is. But my gut is saying that she won't lie because she hasn't really chosen to lie as much as she has could have done in the past. So I'm curious to see how these two things coincide, whether her desire for freedom, her desire for an ending of this 20-year ordeal that she's in, whether that allows her to get out of jail early by just giving Trump what he wants, or is she going to try find the other path to a pardon, which could also come from the I think. Can a pardon come from the House? I wonder if I think a pardon can come through the House, but I wonder if it can. So that's the other alternative, is that she can have, those two pardons. The problem with everyone's understanding right now of this Jeffrey Epstein saga and the relationship between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein is we believe it's about pedophilia. We believe that it's about this human trafficking ring. And it's actually a much bigger scheme. It's a much bigger ordeal. I've called it the greatest heist in history. And I'm writing the series on narrative about this right now, where we're revealing the entire history of the operation to take down American capitalism. And in that, we've learned, the relationship between Epstein and Trump seem to go on parallel lines, but occasionally they intersect with each other. They intersect at the Khashoggi yacht. They intersect at Deutsche Bank. They intersect in 1986. There's a bunch of points where you just wonder, well, that's very convenient that these two things intersect. And when you pull back and you understand the full picture of what these two guys were doing, and in fact, what Robert Maxwell was doing before Epstein was around, you begin to understand this is a very complex operation to destroy American capitalism, to destroy America from within. This is the cancer that was let loose in America in order to destroy the country that the Soviets always said that they could do. In fact,
without
the Soviets,
firing a shot, Khrushchev. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And they did, in fact, implement all those policies. And I've got in my latest piece, I'll explain exactly when and how in the early 1980s, they went ahead and implemented this policy to destroy American capitalism, which actually survived and outlived the USSR. And continued until today. And its primary operatives in the West, as far as I can tell, are Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump. So when you start unpacking that as the real crime, as the real thing that's happening behind all these other sort of, the human trafficking and these other blackmail allegations, there is so much more. And you have to believe that the FBI, whose job it is to identify spies and to track intelligence incursions in the United States, was fully aware of all of this and was tracking it on a day-to-day basis, which means the files must be full of that kind of allegation, not just allegations about whether he slept with an underage girl or not, about the fact that he participated in a crime against America in order to weaken America's economy.
For decades.
For decades. And that's where it becomes very, that's what he's worried about. And if she goes out and says that, I mean, that'll be unbelievable. If they release
that'll
the
be incredible, wouldn't it? What if she's like, okay, everybody, here's the deal. Yes, the pedophile criminal ring is a real thing. Yes, Donald Trump was deeply involved. Yes, he had sex with underage girls. And yes, we did all this as part of a broader plan to fuck over the United States. We have been working with Russia. We have been working with Mossad, or we've been working with Netanyahu. We've been working with Putin, whatever the situation is. Because to your point, she doesn't just have receipts, client lists, firsthand experiences. She didn't get thrown in jail for 20 years because she did nothing and nobody has any evidence, for fuck's sakes. But the other part of this is that she's also a conduit to who they were doing this for. This wasn't just like a playtime activity or organization of sick pricks that like to pass women around. This was an operation to honeypot people. This was an operation to catch people in certain situations where, yes, you can put out a video of someone having sex with another person, but if you have a video or a picture or firsthand knowledge or a receipt of anybody having relations with an underage child, that's reputation death. That's death. That is like, and so like, and this is very much Russian spycraft 101. We know that, right? And I thought about this, and I want to ask you this question. Because of the money that went through to Russia, the money that went between J.P. Morgan Chase, Epstein, the one that Dick Durbin is desperately trying to get a hold of, 4,725 wire transfers. And the well-founded rumor that Vladimir Putin, indeed, he himself is a sexual deviant, right? That I got to wonder if this whole transnational thing, Putin's involvement, not just Russia's involvement in running this organization and operation, or utilizing people like Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. But I gotta wonder how deep this goes on that side of the ocean as well. Like, I really, really do.
Well, that's where it gets really tricky. The story gets really tricky because when you look at all the players involved, it's quite a network of monarchies, of hereditary lines of wealth, of religious institutions. It involves a whole lot of networks that coincide, and some of them you don't want to think of as being involved in these horrible things. Some of them you just have too much regard for to imagine them being involved in things that are so morally corrupt. But are they involved? Possibly. I mean, it's not the history of pedophilia is actually quite extensive and goes on since the dawn of man, and there have been different moral guidelines around it throughout humanity, and certainly different people have had different approaches in different cultures and in certain types of groupings. I would say that people might have thought that was just the way things were. That it's not something that's morally bankrupt. It's just one of the things that happens in life.
Which is weird because I think it's just one of those things everybody should be sent to the electric chair for.
Yeah,
like I mean, really do.
Most people think that, yet, someone somewhere would have thought, hey, it's a rite of passage. In African tribes, it's a rite of passage. It's not. It's like who's to tell what these things are, and what for every person or every tribe or every grouping of people. I'm not justifying any of it. I'm just saying.
Well, no, but my original question was whether or not he was trafficking young girls to Vladimir Putin. Like that. That's
well, but I say that because
who's
Vladimir Putin, and who does Vladimir Putin represent? He sort of represents the establishment of Russia.
Yeah.
And the establishment of Russia goes back to the monarchies of Russia, actually, and the very elite of Russia is all that, and that all ties with the monarchies of Europe, and it's a small group of people, and there's a whole lot of that goes on.
Yeah.
And when you get into that space, I get very dizzy and nervous, so I try not to talk about that.
It's a hard conversation to have, isn't it? Yeah. It really is. So let me ask you another question.
What we know is what's in front of us, which is that you've got these operatives that clearly worked for two, as we know them, nation states with Russia and Israel, and that also had connections to MI6, that also had connections to the CIA, and they were running this operation. But really, it seems that the instructions they were carrying out, to me, came from the KGB, and this attack on American capitalism, which has been a fundamental principle of the Russian state for a long time. They've been since Stalin. They've been trying to figure out how do they disrupt capitalism, and capitalism is free and interconnected. And they
sex and greed, perversion and greed.
They took the capitalism and that isn't connected, and they figured out they were getting infected with their money, and once they were inside of it, they could implode it. And I think that they've shown that they can do that on several occasions. So the success of that is quite remarkable, that they've been able to take us down this far. Will it all succeed? Will America collapse because of these operatives? Hard to tell yet.
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this morning. I did a timeline. If you go to deanblundell.substack.com, the cover up started in May when Donald Trump was told that, you can literally set your watch to him gutting institutions like TIPS, or the crypto crime unit, or Russia investigations, Russian cyber crimes unit, like everybody associated with anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein, Russia, like everybody. I mean, you can see it aside from the distractions and all the things that we know. What do you think the impetus is or was for Rupert Murdoch and the Wall Street Journal? Because they put out a banger yesterday. Effectively, they were the first organization that said Trump was told in May that he was in the Epstein files. And apparently it's the tip of the iceberg, according to people associated with the Wall Street Journal in the know. I heard yesterday the same people that told me all these things were coming out and all of these things came out are telling me now that there's another one today or tomorrow that's even more damning, that's more visually disgusting, that will lay the tracks for really the destruction of the 47th president of the United States. And listen, no issue. I'm good with it. Real good with it. I love
everything that's coming to him. I can't be sympathetic to him for 1 second. It's impossible. Yeah.
No, it's not possible at all. But what do you think the impetus is for Rupert Murdoch, who created this gentleman, who helped this gentleman ascend to the highest office in the land? Because I find that to be very, very fascinating.
Murdoch is such a slippery character and has been in so many pockets over the years. He's currently married to a Russian woman who's maybe 30 years his junior. That to me suggests that maybe he's, and the former wife of an oligarch, by the way, that to me suggests that maybe there's a level of influence that comes out of Russia into the Murdoch world right now. China has been a big supporter of the Murdoch empire through financial loans, which exceeded what would you normally expect. It's hard to tell exactly who is. Israel obviously has been a big part of Murdoch's world as well. He's been a big supporter of Israel, and also the Jerusalem Post, I think, was part of his empire, may still be part of his empire. So there's a lot there. To say his side is he on? He's clearly on the side of the strong man, of the dictators, of the autocracy of the world. I think he's a right-wing kind of guy, and that's where he's playing from. So then you got to wonder, well, why is he attacking the president of the United States? Because he wants him gone, because they've run out of his, in many ways, Donald Trump has done what they wanted him to do.
He's outrun his use.
Yeah, they've done, especially with crypto. Now that crypto has passed, they don't really need him anymore. I mean, this was sort of like, they've got everything they asked for from him. And he may not have even been aware that he was doing all of this all along. He may just have thought, oh, look at these nice bankers and all these nice people giving me money and what have you. But in reality, maybe he's not that useful to them anymore. Maybe they are ready for a Vance, and maybe they've just had enough of his, buffoonery and they're just ready to move on. Who knows?
That's the crypto, the legitimization of crypto and the Genius Bill and all the other bullshit associated with it, and the timing of the Wall Street Journal's impending doom series on Donald Trump are awfully, you bring up a great point. They are awfully symbiotic, aren't they, in terms of timing? Like, that's fascinating.
It just recently happened, right? I mean, that was like last week. So, although now I noticed that some of the Bitcoin the things have been put on hold. Some of the new regulatory framework around some of these new Bitcoin exchanges have been put on hold pending a further investigation. So who knows what's going on behind the scenes? I think there is much more than we really can understand at this point. But that this is like the most amazing, dramatic moment in geopolitical history. This is without a doubt. We're witnessing unbelievable history because it's so personal. We know Donald Trump, we know Murdoch, we know these characters, we even know Ghislaine Maxwell to a large extent. We know these people are not mythical characters to us. These are real people in the world that are doing, acting upon their governments and their secret services or whatever is giving them their orders. It's happening in real time. It's like living in a James Bond movie. We're witnessing that kind of high stakes drama happening in real time in the world. So there's no doubt about it. This is just one of those incredible moments to be alive, and also one of those things that the Chinese call an interesting time.
It's a very interesting time. Yeah. No, it really is. And I appreciate being able to do Substack Live with you, someone that's steeped in not just the intentions, but the craft and who's involved, what's involved. And because there are so many different aspects to what goes behind and is behind Donald Trump, what makes up Donald Trump, what keeps him in office, what brought him back into the Oval Office. And it's the same powers that be that are now saying, apparently, as we watch what Rupert Murdoch is doing to his boy, like he's coming for him. It's like, and not just Rupert Murdoch. People who were, afraid of him in the past are mocking him now. Did you see the South Park episode last night?
I didn't see it. I heard about it. I heard about it.
Oh, my God.
Good for them. Good for them.
They brought Satan back to have a relationship with Donald Trump, and they were laying in bed, and Donald Trump's little wiener came out. And I'm like, oh, my God. And then the AI thing of Donald Trump legitimately walking through the desert naked, looking like, the disrespect that people are, a mockery of Donald Trump. I've never seen it like this. Like, I know the emperor has no clothes, but literally it's almost like everybody at the same time is like, we all knew. We know you're in the pedophile documents. We know you're a criminal. We know you're a liar. We know you're a cheat. We know your Obama treason bullshit is not going to pass the smell test. He's got immunity. It's almost like everybody's a little bit smarter. Maybe we can thank the internet. Maybe we can just thank the fact that everybody's super fucking engaged, like all the people that are in the chat right now. But I can tell you this. I have never felt this vibe around a once impenetrable Donald Trump. And if everybody out here, and like he's been unmasked, and if everybody out here, everybody in this chat, share, like, subscribe, whatever, I see their hope. I see it on Twitter. I see it on, which, by the way, I was just hammering some convoy people this morning. It was a lot of fun. That's all I do on Twitter now. Just go in, post a story. Someone says something. I just
get your rage out.
Yeah, it's I had to let Angry Dean out a little bit this morning. But the idea that Donald Trump is in a death spiral, everybody can smell it now, and it is fucking beautiful, Seb.
It is beautiful. I just hope that we keep an eye out on the big picture, that we all understand that, whatever replaces Trump is probably going to be worse than Trump in many ways. And so we need to use this moment in time. The Democrats really need to use this moment in time to not only eject Trump, but to eject everything that Trump brought with him. And that's going to be a far more complicated process. because, just replacing the figurehead at the top of this thing, is not going to do very much for the track we're on. In fact, it could make us even more accelerated down this path of autocracy that we don't really want. So the opportunity here is to look at the big picture, understand the whole, and this is why I'm doing this series, is to give people a real understanding of the broader forces that came to play to give us Donald Trump. And if we just allow them to replace Donald Trump with another figurehead, we're not going to get very much further ahead.
This is what a lot of people don't understand. And I'm so glad you're bringing that up. And I would hope everybody would. And I think everybody understands this, that is a regular watcher of the FiveStack or, appreciator of our content, is that you and I are both laser focused on that concept. And the concept is Donald Trump is a representation of every terrible business, every selfish idea, every angry billionaire that wants to be a trillionaire, the broligarchy, industries that hate regulation and fucking hate you. Donald Trump represents all of those interests. Everything bad. That's why everything that he does is bad, right? Yeah. Donald Trump represents the police state. He represents violence. He represents money. He represents greed. He represents a monarchist type thinking. And so anybody that's associated with it, whether it's the cock industries or coach industries, whether it is Elon Musk or Peter Thiel, all of those people hate you. You are worker bees to them. Yeah. You are the mark, you're worker bees, you're cheap labor. They're not here to, make your life better with AI that helps you. They're here to monetize AI and use it to create a world and a system that only benefits 2 to 3% of the population of this planet. And those interests are all aligned globally, right? So what I think everybody, to your point, and I completely agree, is enjoying the downfall of a con man, sexual predator, 34-time felon, adjudicated rapist, and most likely a pedophile or a pedophile enabler. That's one thing. Standing on guard for the United States of America will get more difficult after this should he get plucked out of office because those interests are represented in the party. And the next guy in line is J.D. Vance. We briefly touched on this the other day. J.D. Vance is an excellent communicator. J.D. Vance is a fraud. J.D. Vance is playing a role like a WWE character. J.D. Vance is an asshole, but J.D. Vance has a way of taking a dump in a pardon my language, having a bio break in a candy wrapper, wrapping it up and handing it to you. You eating it, tastes like shit. And he's like, no, that's candy. Like that's legitimately what is coming next, and he's still going to represent every one of those terrible interests that want to use, abuse, and hurt you for their benefit. So make sure you keep that in mind, my friends.
Yeah, that's a very big issue here that I think people need to grapple with before this gets any further, because who knows what Ghislaine's going to say? Nobody knows. Let's move on to the number 4 story on the countdown. Chinese state-sponsored hackers have compromised the National Nuclear Security Administration, along with over 400 organizations worldwide, in what's being called one of the most widespread cyber exploitations of the year. The breach exploited critical vulnerabilities in Microsoft's SharePoint servers, with the nuclear agency confirming that the attackers gained access starting on July 18th. While officials insist that classified information was not compromised, the timing couldn't be worse for the U.S.-Chinese relationships. And of course, this is the very same agency that we were reporting a few weeks ago that Doge had basically left the door open as they were siphoning off a whole lot of data from this agency.
Are you telling me Big Balls forgot to put a password on America's nuclear institutions?
Yeah, they may have left the door open a little bit, and the Chinese may have just bumped into that door and thought, "Oh, look, the door's open. We got in somehow." Just because no one would have told them. No one at Doge would have told them, or Russia wouldn't have told their allies, China, that there's a back door open there. So they did. They got into the back door, and here we are. This is a major cyber attack on America. We've had a few of them by the Chinese since last November, even before last November through summer. the so-called typhoon, the Salt Typhoon attack. This one is called the Linen Typhoon. There is a lot happening in our data world that is very dangerous because the Chinese are rigging all our infrastructure to do whatever they want to do with it, whenever they want to do with it, because these things lie dormant for a long period of time, and then when they need to, they exploit them. So worthy of everyone's time and concern. If you are a user of SharePoint, you should think about changing that, or at least contacting Microsoft for figuring out how to resist this move.
Big Balls is in trouble, isn't he?
I don't know. Big Balls. He's got a job. He's got a full-time job with a pension now.
No, he quit. He quit Doge. Yeah. He left the other day.
He got another job. He got a job the next.
Oh, is he
got hired back?
Well, this is going to show up on his performance report.
Yeah, he got hired back by the Social Security Administration or something like that. So now he works there.
They didn't know about this. So they didn't know about this.
Big Balls strikes again.
Yeah.
Columbia University has settled $220 million to settle the anti-Semitism claims against them. Columbia University agreed to pay the $220 million to the Trump administration to settle allegations it failed to protect Jewish students from anti-Semitism on campus. The Ivy League institution will pay the money over 3 years, plus an additional $21 million for employment discrimination probes, ending a crisis that saw the cancellation of $400 million in federal research funding. Now, the thing here that's missing is that it gives the Trump administration a lot of access to student records, including when they might be arrested or elsewhere. So this is basically a sellout. This is no other way to look at it. Columbia University is sold out to the Trump administration, maybe for good reason, but still hard to accept.
Yeah, there's no good reason for that because, as you pointed out, not only did this come with a $220 million penalty payday for the Trump regime, which you can guaranteed, again, Trump loves his kickbacks. He's going to get some of that.
10%,
probably.
Yeah,
he's going to get 10% for sure. But it's access to private information belonging to citizens from countries that they don't like.
Yeah.
It is access to information, private, sensitive information about students, about faculty, and about staff. Columbia University let down their faculty yesterday when they agreed to pay this so they could have access to $400 million, pay $220 to get access to $400. Seems a little
weird.
Fucking weird to me. This is a complete capitulation. Columbia University should be embarrassed. They should have followed what Harvard's doing and fight every step of the way. Because this is about trying to make America dumber. This is about trying to intimidate students from countries that Donald Trump just simply doesn't like, that look un-American. This is about appeasing Benjamin Netanyahu and making it look like he is out to save the world from all of the hatred because no one's protecting Jewish people anymore. That's what this is about. So boo on Columbia University. And if you have a choice, if you get accepted to both, you're one of those students, real smart person. You get accepted to Columbia or Harvard. Harvard, no contest today.
Well, Harvard's may follow through. That's the thing, is they may follow the example. And that's the unfortunate thing, is we're now seeing these academic institutions, which are supposed to be where you get protests, where you get free speech, where you get to, you get people to be free thinkers. And they're giving up that space in this. They're giving up that space by saying, well, this kind of racist, it really is racist, policies that they're instituting where they're not.
It's ideologically racist too, if that's even a phrase, right? Because like one of the things that people got really angry about that Donald Trump was talking about is they were teaching people about religion they didn't want people to teach them about, right? Like it. So, they wanted Christian, and that's also part of this deal.
Yes,
you got to teach. You got to teach Christian curriculum as well. You have to make that sort of the baseline for the religious curriculum. You can teach other people about other religions, but that's what this is as well. It's the kettling of an institution. It's straight out of Viktor Orban's playbook. This is exactly what he did in Hungary to get control of every educational institute, to mainline bullshit, evangelical, hardline Christian propaganda into the minds and the brains of people who are supposed to go. And let me say this, every university should be secular. Everyone. You should be able to go to fucking university, have a broad range of ideologies, ideas, religions, philosophies, disciplines that have nothing to do with ideology and everything to do with presenting these facts to you so that you can understand them. That is what education's supposed to be. The idea, and this is, I went to a private Christian high school. Let me just say, I got out of a private Christian high school. This is a true story. I think I've told this story before. Went to the University of Calgary and found out in my first anthropology class that the world is not 10,000 years old and God didn't make it in 7 days. Now, I always knew that, but I was never exposed to any of that information. That is the end goal. That is all Project 2025. And this is part of that. Again, shame on Columbia University for agreeing to any of this bullshit whatsoever.
Because, of course, this is a big fine that they have to pay, basically, for not protecting these students based on religious grounds. So that is the basis on which they will continue to operate more aggressively. So they will protect Christian students on religious grounds. And what does that mean? What does that mean for the LGBTQ organizations on campus that have, maybe are supporting gay and lesbian students who are, maybe the Christian students don't approve of that, or other religions don't approve of that. Where does that lead if we have to protect the religious students over all the other students? Is that the slippery slope we're going down? And I fear that is, and I fear that it's not only going to be the kettling of our free speech, but also of our expression and our ability to be the people that we want to be, especially on these campuses. So whether it's LGBTQ organizations have found a safety ground there over the last decades, and now for that to be challenged potentially by these kinds of ideals are real challenging. I just think we all know what's going on. We know autocracy's coming. We know what kind of guy this is. He's not, he's showing us every single day that he wants to be an autocratic leader. He wants to be Hitler. So if we know that, we can't work with him. No one should be making any deals with this guy. We know where it's going to lead. It doesn't lead anywhere good at the end of the day.
Amen.
The federal...
Amen. You like that? I said amen.
I got that. It's very good. Very good. Very good. You should be a comedian. You really should be. Maybe not. President Trump is also visiting the Federal Reserve today in what marks the first presidential visit to the central bank since 2006. He's escalating his pressure campaign against Jerome Powell over interest rates and a controversial $2.5 billion renovation project. Trump has suggested the cost overruns might provide grounds to fire Powell. I'm not sure that's what's going on there, but it is weird that Trump is visiting with Powell today just as he wants those interest rates cut down to 1%, he said. Curious to see what happens. Do you have any thoughts about that one?
Yeah, Donald Trump's a fucking idiot. Yeah. I mean, he can't fire the Fed. I mean, he could try, but effectively, as I understand it, he can't fire Jerome Powell. All he can do is lean on him, embarrass him, shock him, make life miserable for him, find different avenues to get rid of Jerome Powell. One of the funniest things, and this kind of sums up how fucking dumb he is. One of the funniest things I've ever seen was in the Oval Office about a month ago. Someone asked him about, hey, you're going to fire Jerome Powell? And he goes, I don't even know. You know what, guys? I don't even know who hired him. Why was he appointed? He's the worst. Too late, Jerome Powell. Whatever moron, whatever fucking idiot appointed Jerome Powell to the head of the Fed should be taken out I'm paraphrasing, behind the woodshed. Someone pointed out to him, it's like in the meeting of the Oval Office, they're like, that was you. You did it in the Rose Garden in 2018. There's a 10-minute video of you standing next to him talking about how he's the smartest, he's the best. We'll never need another Fed as long as Jerome Powell's in the house. The reason why he's doing that is, if you remember, Donald Trump and all of his friends love debt, right? They love debt. They take on so much debt. They leverage that debt and they buy the debt. And they're swimming in it right now because interest rates are through the fucking roof. It's really simple. Everybody that has high interest rates suffers the same thing. When interest rates go up, people that hold a lot of debt, they get pinched. And Donald Trump and his friends are trying to get Jerome Powell to give them some relief so they can find a margin in their profits that's lost since Donald Trump has fucked over the United States with tariffs. I mean, it's just the most he's trying to evade, he and his friends, trying to get Jerome Powell to destroy the American economy so he can evade paying that tariff increase and the tax that he's putting on American citizens, which the other day he's like, we've made $100 billion. And someone pointed out to Ron Vera, Peter Navarro. Yeah. They're like, the Americans paid that. He goes, whatever.
Well, there's dispute about this, and I'm really interested to see where we land up with the tariff thing. And I'm being completely objective on this one. It is possible that the manufacturers, the exporters, the nation states that we've instituted these tariffs against that they are picking up some of the slack. And in fact, this won't land up being such a big hit to the consumer. I don't think that's the case. I think it will end up being a big hit to the consumer. I think at the end of the day, these corporations are going to have to buckle and increase their prices. But at this point, the inflation rate has stayed quite low. And at this point, we haven't seen that big bump that everyone was expecting. Maybe that means the tariff thing has some success to it. The other thing that he's trying to do, and maybe you have to give him a second here just to see maybe he's got some legitimacy in this idea that we are also, as a country, the United States owes a lot of money. And if we could bring down the interest rate to 1% as we renegotiate $200 billion in debt, which is coming due, I think, in January, maybe we can do that under a lower interest rate percentage.
Can I ask you a question? Do you really think Donald Trump is interested in saving
America? I don't think Donald Trump is interested in saving America. It would be a remarkable thing if Donald Trump saved America. I would have, spent 8 years researching nothing and getting it all wrong.
I mean, it's really nice of you to try and find like a couple of different angles to not make it look like Donald Trump is indeed the dumbest human being who has ever walked or stepped foot in the Oval Office, who is legitimately just trying to claw back some more money for him and his friends. It's really nice of you to give him a little kindness, but my God, that man, I'll just explain what he's doing. He's trying to leverage this old fella that he said was the best 7-8 years ago, who is now the worst because he's swimming in debt, as are all of his friends, as is the United States of America. So anyway, he can put more money in his pocket and his friends' pockets.
Right. It's true.
That's exactly what he's going to do. Yeah.
It's true. But I was just offering an alternative.
I was really sweet. It was really nice.
Thank you. I tried. Speaking of alternatives, have you been noticing Mike Johnson? This is the number one story in the countdown today. So Mike Johnson is now saying that the Jeffrey Epstein thing is not a hoax. He said, and I'll get you the exact quote from him in a second. He said, House Speaker Mike Johnson delivered a rare public rebuke to Trump, declaring the Jeffrey Epstein case is not a hoax, after Trump repeatedly dismissed the controversy as a Democratic scam. So that's interesting on the one hand. On the other hand, Johnson has also been banned from Elon Musk's phone book. Apparently he's been blocked, can't reach Elon Musk anymore, and Elon Musk has changed his number. All of this is happening at a time when Musk's XAI is just days away from being, it's being pulled off the potential use by the Pentagon. This is a very confusing story.
And let me just pop in here.
Try that. Yeah, you try to fix this guy. I don't know what I just said.
All of this stuff is going on as Donald Trump is feverishly trying to get a different version of SpaceX to replace what Elon Musk and SpaceX are doing with NASA, which is virtually fucking impossible. Well, it's totally impossible. So because he's got this fever dream for the Golden Dome, by the way, which will never happen.
Because it reminds him of his own Golden Dome. But here's the thing. Yesterday Trump said that absolutely he believed in Elon Musk and he wants every corporation in America to thrive. And then today he told, or the Pentagon told everyone that he doesn't want to include XAI in any way in anything in the future at the Pentagon. So he's doing both things at the same time. He's lying to the public, saying he wants, Musk to survive and to thrive in America, while at the same time he seems to be going everywhere else. In fact, he's Karen Levitt said that she doesn't think so. No, when she was asked if he endorsed any AI partnerships with X. So he looks like he really has turned away from Elon Musk. It looks like that's over. Look like that's over. It also looks like Johnson is not his friend anymore. Maybe.
No one's friends with Mike Johnson. First of all, Mike Johnson is a pig. Mike Johnson is a hypocrite. Mike Johnson is a disgusting individual who is protecting a pedophile, and he knows it. So let's just leave that there.
Yep.
Elon Musk is not doing that. Elon Musk is trying to get a pedophile out of the office. He's trying to get a sexual abuser out of the office. He's trying to, and listen, Elon Musk is a terrible person as well.
Terrible.
Who, by the way, I'm just preparing a post. Elon Musk and Donald Trump have had two of the worst weeks. Tesla earnings yesterday down 12%. Told everybody that, hey, we're going to be fucked for the next few quarters, so just kind of bear with us. He only has $923 million on hand. He's supposed to have $1.25 billion on hand. He is going down with the ship. These are two people that are two of the worst people in the world that needed each other for a period of time because they're the worst people in the world and their egos are huge. They got in a big fight. Elon didn't get what he wanted. Donald Trump is no longer getting what he wants. And so a bunch of this is theater. But again, like we said yesterday, underneath the surface of what you're hearing and reading, Elon Musk is feverishly trying to destroy Donald Trump. Now, here's the thing with XAI. That's what Doge is. So XAI is deeply embedded already into the United States government apparatus, deeply embedded. And Elon Musk knows this. So the performative aspect of Donald Trump saying, I'd rather not have XAI involved at the Pentagon, I'm pretty fucking sure that some version of XAI that Elon Musk has been tampering with, that he used to destroy the government, that he used to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. Remember that? Waste, fraud, and abuse.
Yeah.
He just fire a bunch of people. It's somewhat performative. However, I said this yesterday, I'll say it again. I hope both teams lose. It's like my mantra when I talk about either one of these two guys. The schadenfreude that everybody who hates Donald Trump, can't stand Elon Musk, doesn't like fascism, doesn't like elitism, doesn't like liars. When bad things happen to bad people, guys like me celebrate. Guys like and people like this on the chat, we celebrate. What's happening to both of these men right now as I speak? Tesla is cratering. Donald Trump is cratering. The Epstein files are coming out. The GOP is scared shitless of Elon Musk. Elon Musk isn't scared of anybody, nobody. And that's not a compliment. He's just an idiot because he is the richest man in the world. And again, you have two of the most powerful people in the world having two of the worst weeks they have ever had. And more people should be paying attention to this. It should be a warning. And I think a good place to sort of cap the podcast. This should be a warning. And it also should be really encouraging for everybody that sat there going, when will this end? Like, why do these people keep hurting us? Well, because they want to. Why do these people keep getting richer while I get poorer? Well, because that's the idea. So Elon Musk has lost billions in market cap. No one's buying his cars anymore. And if they are, God bless you, good luck. He's promising all kinds of things like humanoid robots and cheaper cars. But Elon Musk is no longer getting anything he wants from Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is no longer getting everything he wants from Elon Musk. There is going to be a comeuppance. And they're both going to lose. But the natural consequences, I really want everybody to enjoy them right now. Elon Musk is toilet drain swirling. Donald Trump is doing the same. So just sit back, watch, and feed the machine with facts. Enjoy it, because everything that you've ever wanted, it sure look, you, me, everybody else, Elon Musk out of government, Donald Trump out of office, MAGA destroyed. It's happening. So just have fun. Go get yourself a Cottage Springs or a Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Enjoy this show.
Sit and read. Yeah, they are taking you, Joan. She goes, yes, team, they are taking us with them. Not yet. And I believe that. I truly do believe that. So let's just enjoy that while we can, people.
The best thing is, absolutely, Dean, the best thing would be if both of these guys would take each other out. I mean, that'd be the ideal situation. And if they took Putin with him, it'll be hallelujah everywhere. That's a great scenario, great way to end the show. Thank you, Dean Blundell from deanblundell.substack.com, where you get all your news in Dean's very, very personal style and his incredible attention to detail. He has a timeline coming up. Did you put this timeline out yet or not?
Yeah, there's a timeline up there right now. By the way, all subscribers until the end of the month, 50% off annual subscriptions. You never pay more than that. The entire timeline is up there. You can go and have a look at it. I think it's fascinating. I've also got a little piece here about all the people around Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump over the past 30 years that have died. You should go and check that out. That's absolutely fascinating because the list is long and people died this week. So let's all just enjoy that a little bit too.
Just one person.
No, Roy Black died this week.
Yeah, I thought you said people as in more than one. That's fascinating. We're going to check that out. And I've got a good idea of who some of those people are. Thomas Bowers is one of them, I bet. Yeah, Thomas Bowers, because he's in my timeline that I'm just putting out today, which is all about the incredible attempts of the KGB to basically destroy capitalism, and also a very detailed timeline of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, the two networks that coincided over the last 50 years. Did they, in fact, contribute to where we are right now? This is my theory about how America comes to an end, and this is how the KGB wanted it to come to an end. So we shall reveal all of that in The Greatest Heist at narrative.org, narrativ.org. Check it out if you will. That is the FiveStack today. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition. Have a great day, everybody. Have a great day, Dean.
You bet.